Attention on deck!
Hi everybody, Army P here for eXplorminate.net, and welcome back to our Let's Try Stellaris with the new DLC Leviathans installed. Now I'm doing a little bit of a pullout here of the entire galactic map, and you can see from the last episode to this one, there has been a drastic change in the way the entire map looks, who's friends, who's allies, who's enemies, and who's rivals. The whole landscape has completely altered from the last one. I'll give you a quick rundown. Now, if I remember correctly, which sometimes I've been known not to, the Empire of the Trital, we took his planet, I believe it was this one, Delta Pravoris, and Burbit, that was the sector. Yeah, we took this on our own, and we liberated that, we liberated that planet, which we ended up making that their population base ended up being favorable to ours. So we quickly created a vassal, and then I integrated him into my society. That increased my borders, which I was able to colonize these two different sectors here. The Shitskik, and Marak. Now, what I should have done is kind of showed off a little bit of the Federation war, the way that we go to war, because you can see here that the reason the landscape has changed is because my libertarian allies have not only gotten several other people into the Federation. I'll just pull down the diplomacy window. We've got a total of 4, and 5 including myself, I believe. No, 4 in total, including myself, and I think we have 1 more under consideration. Now, the reason this is important is because then my allies decided to declare war against I believe the Jahamata Star Mandate, and they had a defensive alliance against the United Armathi Kingdom and the Larite Concordiate. Now, this was a 3-pronged war that actually spanned a good 15 to 20 years. In the end, we ended up defeating them. We didn't ask a lot for in terms of seceding planets or sectors. Instead, because we're a libertarian type, I say, is that more? Yeah, I think so. Libertarian. Doesn't sound quite right for a conquering army, but that being said, we ended up liberating this tiny little planet here, and this is what happened with the Larite Concordiate, is that we ended up liberating these people. I ended up offering them protection, which increased my trust with them, and then they quickly asked to be their vassal because they're completely surrounded by enemies. And now I'm going to be integrating them into my empire in about 2 years' time, so it takes about 10 years. So this is a bit of a long process compared to straight up conquering, with the different war goals that you can set in the game. I'll pull up this screen here, see the different opinions of who's the current president, what our fleet size is for the Federation fleet, but moreover, I'm just going to kind of show you an example of the kind of wars that we tend to be waging as a peaceful Federation. Let's just say I wanted to declare war on him. Of course, I can. All of the different people that are a part of the auspicious Entente Federation have a chance to get a part of the different war scores by either liberating the planet, seceding the planet, demanding open borders. One thing I've noticed is if you're not really a warmongering or militaristic type state, by humiliating them or opening the borders, they'll often, accept this this type of war score. And it also makes for a rather quick war, because oftentimes our war score ends up being, whatever the case may be, 40, maybe 50 war score points, which is pretty easy to rack up if you intend on destroying a lot of space stations. So that being said, I'm kind of now mopping up in different sectors, basically expanding my borders. My sectors are performing much better than they were in the last patch, without a shadow of a doubt. I think the combination of being able to control the sectors has helped immensely by limiting what they can and can't do. But you can see here that this is currently my Arc Prime, when I think I showed this off last time, that the sectors weren't actually building anything. And what I realized was, after watching this for an extended period of time and keeping an eye on what my sectors have been doing, what they actually do is they don't queue anything up. So if a pop is just starting to grow, instead of being preemptive and then building something on that tile for when the pop grows, you'll instantly be working. They actually wait for the pop to completely grow, then they build something. They also don't build anything in any type of queue. So if we ended up having, you can see here, I've got two different races here. We've got our Volart butterflies and our Yalin starfish. They're on the same planet because they wanted, we had an immigration policy. Now, what if one of these happens to immigrate here? They won't queue something up. So oftentimes, if you're coming back to a planet and you notice that the sector doesn't seem to queue anything, it's because they probably have queued it. It's just that they're not showing you via visual display like you would doing your own. So that being said, all in all, I'm happy with the sector system. Because I'm playing a smaller, tinier galaxy, it's not abundantly clear if this is still something that's been fixed or still needs constant work on. My next playthrough will probably be in a militaristic collective type race where I'll end up using slavery, because that'll be the true test, is just to see how well the sector system does with the governors in either enslaving your population or enslaving another population in terms of like an alien population. Also the mechanic of purging. So we are currently at year 2315, so which means from the last episode I think that we've urged forward about 35 years in total. You can see all these different intel points here showing me all the different destruction that we did. One cool thing is that I've definitely noticed with 3 different allies besides myself, they do a great job of when you decide to take your fleet, you'll get this nice little icon here called, it's up in the upper bar here on the right hand side, called Take Point. If you click on this and engage it, it encourages all of the Federation fleet that you've helped build, the Federation ships, and it also helps all of your allies focus on that actual fleet. And they converged completely, and there was many of these stars that we ended up occupying ourselves. Like you can see here that I've actually got this occupied, or it was occupied. So anyway, yeah, and they came with transport fleets. They came with a large fleet in itself. It was really, really cool to watch, especially because I started to run a little low on some of my transport ships, and there was my allies with a full complement of transport ships. In fact, we actually invaded a planet at the exact same time, and I think it's whoever the largest army left after we completely invaded the planet and took it over for ourselves was the one that ended up claiming it, at least for the war score. Because as it stands right now, we haven't seceded a single planet or acquired a single planet in the entire time. So that being said, I'm kind of waiting on one of the endgame mechanics to kick into high gear. Being at 2315, there's probably only realistically about 45 years left until, I'm sorry, probably about 85 years left until no endgame crisis comes. So I'm really expecting it, relatively soon. But I figure before that happens, I kind of give you a little bit of update of how our map is playing out, all the different major players, potential enemies, and whatnot. I think that there was one thing I did wanted to show you, and that happened to be with the new Enclave that I was able to make in contact with. The Artisans, yes. So the Artisan Troop here is an Enclave that will basically create either festivals or create art pieces for you that you can actually build on your planet. It's an art, if you'll see here, it kind of says they want 1,000 minerals at a cost of 25 of your influence. It will give you a plus opinion of them of 10, and then you gain access to a art monument with the following effects. You can see here that happiness, xenophobia goes down, and migration ends up being that. So it's and then additionally, what you can do, whoops, I'll just get that back up. You can become their patron. Basically, you give them a certain number of, I mean, it's a big cost, 25 credit or 25 energy credits and 25 minerals per turn. So it's a bit of a bite if your economy isn't running full steam. But what they can do is they will become inspired, and they will make different things that you can actually purchase from them. Like I was able to, I believe, start a festival, and that festival, yeah, there it is, Festival of Worlds. So I was able to become their patron, and then suddenly this Festival of Worlds is this giant festival that goes over my entire empire, that gives plus 15% happiness, and everybody is going, and 10% less growth time, which means it's pretty much of a Mardi Gras for the Yallen starfish who are just partying, having too much fun, and apparently doing their little nicky because we're growing with a 10% population boom. So I like these, and then again the Enclave are a part of the Leviathan DLC. So it's just one more added little flavor that I really like, because you can sit there and you can really enjoy all the different things in mid-game that when you're not either building a fleet or working on your diplomacy with other people, or playing with the new expansion planner, which by the way is easily the best part of this entire game when it comes to quality of life. I really like the rally point, don't get me wrong, but this expansion planner, it just makes life so much easier. I mean, you can quickly just look at a planet, you go, okay, what's the best size? Okay, show me where this is on the map. Okay, hit the E button. Show me exactly where that planet is. Okay, there's that planet. It's 25%. I got a habitability of 85%. Oh, it's in the Republic of Shambor. So it'll actually give you all that information that you need, right? See if you can't is colonizable. So there's the key when it comes to searching in your expansion planner. You can get all these different modifiers that you can set this thing to, and then you can see here that I've actually got access to 3 different planets that are outside of someone else's border that I can go to. But the thing I like about it is I can look at planets that haven't been colonized and say, all right, you fat cat, where's this beauty planet? And I can sit there and look at it and go, oh, it's in the Republic of Jab-Samor, and then see if I like him or not. So I can almost use the expansion planner for twofold. I can use it for deciding if I want to conquer someone else, or I can decide it for actually planning out for its intended use, which is of course expanding. So other than that, we've just the entire Federation has just gone through a considerable war. So as it stands right now, I'm just rebuilding my fleet. You can see here my minerals are, substantially lower than what they should be at this point of the game. I've just been trying to, expand at the same time, make sure that I got my fleet up and ready. You can see I've got my 2 major fleets here, combining for a good 13,000 and change military power. If the end games don't happen within the next, I'd say, 10 years, what I'm probably going to do is try my best to try to fight the Ether Drake, the giant space dragon that we know was there. But the only problem is with 13,000 fleet, I really don't think that we're going to be. I think it's going to blast us into space dust, because that's a difficult nut to crack from things I've seen online of how many of these bad boys it takes to take one of those down. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're standing right now. I really do enjoy playing on a tiny map, because you tend to get a little bit more intimate with the actual different players that you're up against, right? Often I've played on one large map, and I don't know how many different races I had, something like 30, and it was just, they became a little bit of a blur to me, because if I can play for 2, maybe 2.5 hours at a time, and then the next day I have to come back and I'm trying to remember who's my friend or what my relations are, or any type of role-playing event that I kind of had rolling around in my brain if I really decided that I was going to like or dislike a certain race. After you get to a certain point where you're looking at more than 15 different races, I start to get cross-eyed and can't quite remember where we're at. Especially the randomized nature of Stellaris, where every race is a little bit different. It's not like something like, let's say, Master of Magic, where you have preset races where you already know their lore, their background, their attitude, their, you know, what you're really expecting from them is based a lot of what you know about their background and your previous experience. Whereas, you know, in Stellaris, unless you're playing with pre-made races, oftentimes you're kind of struggling to remember if you liked or disliked them in this, unless it's completely just based off of your similar ethics, right? Not a complaint, just an observation of the way that that game actually plays out. Looks like my borders are just about to get going. That's great news. Okay, everybody. Well, this is kind of just one of those update ones. I got to show you a little bit about the sector system. I got to show you the remnants, or the remaining, what's remaining of those 3 different empires that decided to come at us. Not very much. The strengths of being in a federation and being and having a what am I thinking of here? I'm looking for edicts, or my policies. So you can see here, I'm just going to quickly show you what my war philosophy is. And I have unrestricted wars, but everybody else has got a liberation wars as their war philosophy. And even under that, when a federation has a majority of that war philosophy, I was still able to enter and engage into war, cripple potential enemies to a point where I don't honestly think that they're going to be able to rebuild now that my infrastructure is so strong and my research is so far ahead. And I was still able to take over planets a lot slower than if it would have been a conquering. But it's just one of those things where if you're given more tools to play with, it makes for more varied and interesting games. Because this is one of the few games that I've played to this point where I've played a peaceful race, and I'm actually enjoying it. I like having a lot of different allies who have all got their own little agendas that they're all playing out, at different times. And being able to vote and build towards a federation, it's just a different aspect I didn't get to play around with too much in the previous patches, and I'm really enjoying in this one. But yeah, going forward, I think that the big goal right now is either to see an endgame crisis, or it's going to be the Fallen Empire. Give you a good indication, like I said, of just what all of the major players, what the galactic map looks like, so that when I make my next video and we jump right into it, everybody's up to speed of what's going on. Okay, everybody, this has been Army P from eXplorminate.net, and I'll see you in the next exciting video where something major is going to happen.